in Bharatnatyam, Mohiniattam, and Kathakali, along with her educational background in English literature, dance, theater, women's studies, has given Ms. Ratnam a unique movement vocabulary. Awarded on multiple occasions for her work in television, theater, dance and arts, and entrepreneurship, Anita Ratnam has received the National Presidential Medal for Contemporary Dance in 2017. She's a passionate animal lover, food enthusiast, and world traveler. She, in her own words, lives every day to its fullest potential. We warmly welcome you today.
Thank you. There was a lovely teacher called Raji Narayan. She passed away recently at age 89 in Mumbai, but she was in Madras. She had known my family from Madurai, my father's family. She had moved to Madras. I'm using the word Madras because that's the city I grew up in before it changed its name to Chennai. And so being a friend of the family and also being a singer and a dancer, so that's how she came home, my mother called her. And I learned dance by not dancing, but by sitting on her lap. I would sit on her lap and she would tell me to put tal, and she would just sing folk songs. And then she would ask me, I would do this and turn. So she would just watch me move. She would sing to me. She would clap to me. And it became for me such a joyous experience. My introduction to dance was not classical dance. My introduction to dance was through Ananda. It was through joy. It was through natural movement. I was 9 and it was decided that I was ready for my Arangetram. I was a very quick learner. But here I want to just give you an example of an incident that became a life lesson for character building, which for me has still lasted. The Arangetram was actually my mama's wedding reception, because in those days, during wedding receptions and the engagement, we had classical music concerts and classical dance concerts. A week before this, in my grandmother's house, I was running up the steps and I slipped. No, I was running down the steps. I slipped and I slipped all down the steps and I scraped my entire back. I scraped my entire back so badly that it was bleeding all along my spine. But my father said, "Oh, you my poor child, let's cancel this. Can't have this Arangetram." My mother said, "No, I think Anita can do it." See, for me, the biggest thing was I had to please my mother. My father would be pleased with anything I did. He was just like pure love. But my mother was like, I had to earn her. I had to earn her respect. My mother took me aside after those 4 days and said, "I want you never to quit. If you have given a word, like we have given a word that you are going to dance, we gave a word on your behalf, but it's your foot and your presence on stage. No matter what happens, you have to honor your word. So go out there and finish the performance." And I think that quality of honoring your commitment to the public was something that has stayed with me all through my life.
I remember 1978, and I did a full Kathakali evenings program, a full program in Kathakali. I learned from Balasubramaniam Warrior of Kerala Kalamandalam and Mohiniattam from Chinna Mummal and Trichu Ramanathan. So I had good training, in the two Kerala styles. And the reason I trained in them was because my mother felt I had so much movement in my body. The body would automatically sway, which in Kalakshetra I was told, now stop, the art of the stop panne. Nera ire, nera nil. And I said, but the body's got movement, it's got natural movement. So my mother said, no, I want you to learn Mohiniattam and Kathakali. And it really suited me because I was able to find the contemporary movement patterns from all this other kind of this eclectic training. And it is what is called muscle memory. What do your muscles remember? You know, maybe in terms of repertoire, I would know more Bharatnatyam repertoire and not that much Mohiniattam, because let me tell you, and Sunanda will also agree, in the early years of Mohiniattam, repertoire was very limited. There was literally ஒரு சொல்லுக்கட்டு, you know, they would take one Somasayaka Varnam of Swari Tirunal. Jatis were very short, very, very few adavals. You would either end like this or you would end like this. That's all. You know, but the Mohiniattam itself has expanded. There's so many more movements have come in. So many, and teachers are looking at how to keep the kinetic and actually enrich it with, you know, with more vocabulary. So what you have and what you learn today is, you're very lucky because you have a margam. You have items to choose. If not one piece on Devi, you have something on Shiva, you have something on Ganesha, you have something on Krishna, you have something, you have the variety that that the teacher has, you know, given you. When I came back to India in 1990, the first thing I wanted to do was set up an arts foundation. I didn't want to get back on stage. So I started my foundation. It's called Arangetram Trust. And the first activity of the trust was not to put myself on stage, but I wanted to put out a dance phone book. That's it. I just wanted to do a phone book. 1992, NARTHAKI, the first edition was a book. It was actually a book of phone numbers. And it took a long time to find phone numbers. But I brought it out as a directory, like a phone book of dancers and dance institutions and dance tailors and musicians and instrument makers, whatever I could find. And it was all through phone calls, calling Delhi, asking them to make phone calls and find the phone numbers. And I remember very clearly calling a Kuchipudi Academy, and they saying, we are not going to give you any numbers of any dancers, because if we give numbers, you can call them directly. And this is my first introduction to this kind of paranoia. So NARTHAKI was first a phone book in 92, and the second edition came out in 97. So what happened now in 97, by the time 97 came, emails were beginning to start. Emails were long, and phone numbers in India were beginning to change. And also overnight, our house numbers, the addresses were changing. The local corporation would go and change the number 10 to 20 or 18/4 or something like that. Overnight, your addresses were changing. So I realized that when I did the second directory in 97, that I could not put it out as a hard book anymore. Too many changes were happening, and we could not keep investing in paper and this thing, because it was going to be redundant. The net was going to be the easiest way in which to really update. Started in 2000 first as only an address bank. All the numbers and data just went on. It didn't have the news and the views and the articles and the comments and my monthly editorial. No, that slowly happened. It happened because by the year 2007, media had consciously made a decision to cut down all space for the arts. And as the space for the arts was shrinking in traditional media, NARTHAKI started attracting the writers who were either fired or wanted another avenue to write. So it was a very organic process of how NARTHAKI developed. And in August, which is not even 6 months ago, I launched Neo NARTHAKI, which is specifically targeted for all of you. It's for those aged between 16 and 39, and it's going to deal with all the issues that traditional Narthaki is not going to deal with, like all the LGBTQIA+ issues that are intersecting the arts, feminism, gender equality, the politics, caste, whatever that I feel that needs to be discussed. But with my generation, people are too either set in their ways. So I've actually launched a new platform. It doesn't have my voice, it only has my support. So Narthaki, I'm very proud of, because it has been awarded. I've received awards on Narthaki's behalf, but I call it my 21-year-old daughter. Now it's old enough to drink. That means it's old enough to leave home. And so it completes 21 in April. So Neo Narthaki is the new baby. And I want to encourage all of you to engage with it and send in any question you have without feeling that, because I've called it a brave space and a safe space, both.
The thing about dance for me is I will dance as long as I want to dance. Maybe if there are some of my colleagues who say if I don't dance, there's a part of me that will die. I don't think that will be like that for me. I think it'll be an organic way in which I will slowly maybe stop dancing, but I won't stop being a dancer. Because I think you are a dancer and you're a dancer for life, even if you don't dance anymore on stage. And that's what I want to tell you, young kids, you teenagers, that if you've spent your 5, 6, 7, 8 years with your body at a certain time in your life, which you will never get back, and your muscles have absorbed a kind of a memory, it is a DNA embed, it's an embedding. And what you need to do is just realize that you never say, once I learned with Sunanda auntie or Sunanda teacher. You are always a dancer. Even it's whether you choose not to dance or not is different. But you are always a dancer. No matter if you go off into biotech and IT and medicine and law, whatever you young kids are going off to doing, and fall in love and fall out of love, and whatever you do with your Facebook status doesn't matter. But if dance has been part of your life, you've got to think of yourself always as a dancer. And if you think of yourself always as a dancer, you will take pride in the way you look, in what you eat, in your health, the way you appear, how you dress, how you take care of your hair and your skin. All these things will come because you say, I'm a dancer.